Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I want to talk about the fifth largest economy in the world. And I'm actually not talking about a country, I'm talking about the state of California in the US. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to give you 10 reasons why I think you should absolutely stay out of this real estate market. And it's actually quite strange for me to say that, because when I was growing up, this was a dream to invest in California, to live and invest in California. I'm afraid this is no longer the case. So let's get straight down to it. Here are 10 reasons not to invest in the California real estate market. Number one, the prices are sky high. So if you take the median house price in California, as of November 2020, it had reached an amazing 700,000 US dollars. And if we take San Francisco, it's 1.3 million US dollars. Now, I'm sure you'll agree with me, that is ridiculously high. And I can only see these prices coming down. Number two, rental yields. Now, in popular places like San Francisco, the rental yields are quite low. So you're looking at around 3 to 3.5%. I'm sure you'll agree with me. That isn't great. Now, outside the main areas, you can get some pretty good yields. So to be fair, let's take a couple of areas like Madera, Bakersfield. You can get around 7 to 8% yields gross. But these are starting to go down as well, because people are leaving California. People are refusing to actually pay these sky high prices. So the yields, although are quite high outside the main regions, the main cities, the yields are starting to go down. That's a bad sign. Number three, what I also don't like, in October of last year, 2019, California introduced rent controls. Can you believe it? Rent controls in California. And it became only the second state to do this. And I think the other state, I believe, is Oregon. And what does this entail? So you can only increase the rent at 5% plus inflation annually. And also another problem here, it bans no cause evictions. So it's going to be it's going to be much harder to evict a tenant if they don't pay. And as you know, having watched other videos of mine, I don't like things like rent controls, and also where you can't get rid of a tenant who doesn't easily anyway, if you can't get rid of a tenant easily if they don't pay. Now, there are some exceptions to this. I believe houses built in the last 15 years, it doesn't apply to this. But you can see it's actually going the wrong way. Number four, what I really dislike is the state income tax of 13.3%. Now, this is actually the highest. California has the highest state income tax in the whole of the US. And what's even worse is that they're thinking of raising it to 16.8%. Now, if you combine this with federal taxes, these are government central taxes, which are at a progressive rate of 10% to 37%. As a top taxpayer in California, you could be paying almost 54% in tax. Now, when you consider that other places like Florida, Texas, and Nevada have 0% state income tax, this is actually influencing a lot of people from California, in particular entrepreneurs, to actually leave the state and move to another state. That's dreadful for the real estate market. It's actually dreadful for the whole of California anyway, in all respects. And point number five, they're actually thinking of introducing a wealth tax. Now, this would entail anybody having assets of $30 million or above paying 0.4%. And we don't know if that's going to be annually or not. That said, I know a lot of you will say, well, that's a lot of money. It's a low rate, but it's going the wrong way. Who knows how far they're going to take this? And that's worrying a lot of entrepreneurs. Number six, if you do buy a property in California as an investment and sell it, you'll have to do a P&L, a profit and loss. So for each property you buy and sell, you have to do a profit and loss and pay straight away the state income tax. Now, that's an extra burden on anybody who wants to buy a property. So why buy a property in California when you can buy a property somewhere else and have less hassle? Number seven is the regulations. California has so many business and property regulations, it actually defies belief. And it's actually the most regulations of any state in the US. And this can entail things like permits for property. It entails redoing your property. Also, in a city like LA, if a developer builds a block of apartments, a new block of apartments, let's say your condo unit is 600 square feet, you're going to have to create a parking space as well of 300 square feet. And you're going to have to create common areas as well. So for something like a 600 square feet apartment, the actual developer is going to have to create 1,100 square feet of space. Now, what this does, it makes it very expensive to buy new apartments, and the resulting thing is that developers just don't build because ordinary people just can't afford these apartments, and the prices keep going up. Now, when this changes, and I'm sure this law will change in the future, prices will start to come down. So please do not invest now. Number 8, what's really worrying is the net migration. Now, I would never have believed that California would have actually suffered net migration. So more people are leaving California than coming in. That's dreadful for the real estate market. And what's even worse is that a lot of those leaving are the wealthier people. And these are the people that create wealth and jobs in the state. And that will have a massive knock-on effect. Now, number 9, what is also apparent that is the economic disparity. Now, it is the 4th worst in the US. And what's happening as well is that the number of homeless people in California is shooting up. So much so, California has nearly 50% of homeless people in the whole of the United States. And they only have 12%, roughly about 12% of the population. That's dreadful, isn't it? And 1 in 5 people that live in California are actually below the poverty line. Another staggering statistic. Now, another even worse statistic is that 1/3 of people who require social assistance in the whole of the United States live in California. So it's a dreadful situation. It really is not a time to invest. And number 10, I want to give you other reasons: pollution, traffic, the high gas, electricity costs. So on average, somebody in California pays $1,700 a year on electricity. And the crime rates in places like LA have shot up. In parts of LA in the last 10 years, crime has gone up by 200%. And this makes sure that ordinary people want to leave, wealthy people want to leave, because wealthy people do not want to live in places where there's such an economic disparity. Wealthy people do not want to see homeless people. They want to see people grow in the state. They want to see everybody become wealthier, but somehow the policies have just not worked in California. And it doesn't look as though things are getting better. This is the worst thing. Things look as though they're getting worse. So I just think it's not a great time to buy. Now, again, if you're an overseas investor, some of these taxes may not apply to you. And again, buying property in the US as a foreign investor is a bit of a minefield. So you shouldn't do it as an individual. As I've stated in a previous video, you need to consult with a good accountant and a good lawyer. So for example, with rental income, if you're an individual, you'll pay 30% on the gross income without any deductions. But an LLC, limited liability company, can help you solve this problem. And you've got to also consider things like estate taxes as well. So you really need to consult a good lawyer and a good accountant. But wherever you are, either in the US or if you're a foreign buyer, this is a state where I'm afraid you shouldn't invest in, at least for the moment. Give it some time. We hope things improve. I think things in the next year or two are only going to get worse. We'll revisit this in the future. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching. If you like my videos, do please click the like button. Do please subscribe, and I'll see you very soon on the next video. Thanks ever so much, and have a great day.